allow that to become a vehicle for our mycelium. So I'll take a scalpel and then I'll heat sterilize it. The HEPA filter right here is basically providing us just a clean workspace to perform our inoculations. So we're getting a stream of sterile air. It's eyeballed. I'm pretty good at eyeballing it, so that's what I do. So yeah, the bag's placed in front of the flow hood, inflated with a little bit of that sterile air, and then sealed. All right, so now our bag's inoculated. And then we're just gonna wanna shake it up. All right, my bag's done. People think that all mushrooms are grown in the dark, on manure. We have wood-loving mushrooms, mushrooms that can grow on insects, and mycorrhizal species of mushrooms that can connect with like different plants. This area is our shiitake incubation area. The shiitake generally takes 8 weeks before we can get it into the fruiting room. We can see the mushrooms at this stage beginning to like popcorn. As the mushroom begins to mature, you let the blocks ripen and they begin to turn brown. And this is a block that's ready to go into our fruiting room. It's ripe and ready. Yeah, generally a lot of new growers will mistake the brown for a contamination, but that's actually just the mycelium ripening and getting ready to produce a good crop of mushrooms. And yeah, over here we have some freshly inoculated blocks. We can see the mycelium starting to jump off from the grain that it was inoculated with and looking for sawdust to basically break down and utilize as a food source. In nature, you'd find oyster mushrooms growing off of the sides of trees. So here we kind of try to simulate that way of growth with this block. Inside is oak hardwood sawdust, and the bag kind of acts as an artificial bark, tree bark. So when we give it an incision, it kind of just acts as in nature when the mycelium starts poking out at the right points and receiving the right O2 levels that sends mushrooms out. Once it completely devours all of its food source, the mycelium signals to produce mushrooms. Basically, the mushrooms will start pinning within a few days. You'll start to see a bunch of little baby mushrooms forming all over the block. Usually they'll have like a stem and a cap. Underneath the cap will be the gills, and the gills are responsible for like producing all the spores that the mushroom will utilize to continue the life cycle. We grow mushrooms that in nature you'd find them growing right in the forest, right off of the sides of different trees. So we try to give these mushrooms a little bit of light stimulation, kind of just similar to what you'd get in like a shaded part of the forest. What we do is as our blocks are ready to go in the grow room, we slap our blocks with our hands to basically stimulate the tree falling in nature to shock the mycelium into growing. Once the tree or branch would hit the floor, the mycelium would be shocked into producing the mushrooms because it's basically thinking that its life cycle is coming to an end. That's what mushrooms do. They're basically nature's like grand decomposers. Their job is to break things down and turn it into organic material that can be reused by the environment. There's been stories of toxic waste cleanup by mushrooms, mushrooms being able to break down oils, kind of like the immune system for the planet. Also plastics in the environment. Without mushrooms, we would be overrun with waste. Basically, there would not be any life on Earth. Mushrooms are very crucial to the environment and ecosystem. I started when I was about 15. I just got interested in mushrooms, picked up a couple books, and was just really fascinated by the whole process.